I was a young fella, I was obsessed with the series. He was tendering to be the next Harry Potter for me. I couldn't get enough. Maybe more of a Harry Potter meets a Men in Black situation. In 2001, endless recesses was spent with Artemis and his criminal adventures. Word to my mother, I cannot remember a thing about the books. Seriously, nothing. So, as this, another home release is dumped on Disney Plus.
Oops.
I haven't had any biased opinion on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna give up on that now. Just like this movie gave up on itself around the halfway point. See? Clever.
Clever girl.
If you are not under the age of 8, it's stupid, and then even some. But whatever. It's made for kids anyways, right? You'd be surprised. Which may be the only form of it you'll express through this convoluting snorefest. An example adding to this being, they were not writing this movie for this movie. It's focusing on what comes next. The would-be, hopefully not gonna happen sequel. Opposed to focusing on what story is currently happening in this film. Judging by box office numbers, which is 0, I wouldn't bank on a greenlit given for the rest of the series. Another pause then negative bit is the wonderful, stunning visuals sprinkled in for the trailer fodder. The magical Havenland, of course.
Of course!
And showing off Ireland's pretty shores for seconds, then having the rest of the movie take place in a house. What I do remember from the books that is so blatantly clear is that our main man Artemis is indeed a criminal mastermind, which he does admit in the very closing moments.
I'm Artemis Fowl, and I'm a criminal mastermind.
Fairy catching and being mean to your therapist, ooh. So, for both my recollection and your understanding, Artemis is a descendant of a long line of criminal masterminds. A magical creature race war begins between fairies, a glowing acorn nightlight, and him, I guess. Director of the both glowing Goldilocks of Disney, Cinderella, and Thor, Kenneth Branagh was given $125 million to make this mulch happen. Disney Plus also just plopped out Onward, and it is hard not to size up the fantasy creature characters. One that instantly comes to mind is in Onward, the centaur character in question constantly attempts his hoofs at humor, but never actually achieves any. Where here, this guy, Fowley, I believe his name is, takes himself so very seriously, and you'll find yourself giggling aplenty. In Onward, the animated character designs glaze your optical pleasures, to where in live action, where there's so many main magical creatures to keep up with, it's just exhausting. But Onward did not have a Men in Black styled magical cleanup program called Lepra Con, in where a few of the less annoying characters are employed.
Get the 40 clover out of here.
A rather audible of laughter was spat out anytime Dame Judi Dench spat out a one-liner or uttered anything in that Batman dialect she went with.
Top of the morning.
I'm not sure if she's done dirty to her agent or they're just trying to mess with her now. Her and her pointy ears. I'm actually quite impressed on how well she was able to keep things together. I really stopped caring about anyone else once she hit the scene. This became her movie. Commander Root spin-off. Are you hearing me, Disney? Another actor cranking out their best Dark Knight impression was Josh Gad, and or Mulch, and or, as I prefer to refer to him as, Gagrid.
The kid's plan was fiendishly clever. He just had to get me in the house because he knew the truth about dwarves.
Who unfortunately is also our narrator.
Get comfy with this for 2 hours.
But as much as I hate to admit, next to Dench, he and or it was the most likable, at the same time being the most unintentionally terrifying. Kudos goes to Holly Short for being perfectly cast as a tiny green commando fairy. She was great. And green. Like the theme, and most of the characters pulling on that green Irish tugboat. To which we actually have a legit villain, or antagonist you could say. They're seeking that MacGuffin acorn as well. But honestly, not once did I even care about that side plot. Neither did the writers, from what you can gather from watching it. That is, if you still even choose to after this. We'll just leave them, that, and that for the sequel to explain. How about that? The MacGuffin in question is called the Aculons. Something needed to save or take over the world, something. That's all we really know of it, really. Because that's all we're really led on to. No, I didn't forget our main name on the cover. Not necessarily a hero at all. Artemis Fowl. F-O-W-L. But you really wouldn't be wrong going by its alternate spelling either. A supposed boy criminal genius, shown by him just making the most stupid decisions. For instance, he constructs these fairy mind control Ray-Bans, which is kind of cute and clever.
Clever girl.
Only for moments later to take them off, trusting that he has found a friend in whom he has kidnapped and has been holding for ransom. Amid puberty, Frida Shaw took on this character as his very first on-screen credit or role ever. And honestly, I feel so empathetic for him after this. Good luck, kiddo. I rewatched the trailers, and I swear they are ads for an entirely different story. Entirely. They've been baiting us, or at least I, with a cool, transforming lassie in white. Where the fuck was she? Is that his mama? Is that the intended villain? That design was so cool and fresh. Speaking of that, there are quite a few neat and generic creature designs. To comment on that, we discovered that yes, you have seen them all before, even in the Harry Potter movies. Just in there, they were sautéed over 8 movies, opposed to just cramming them all into 1 hour and 55 minutes. Upon completing the credits, I still have no idea, or even care to remember what the hell the story, plot, or, well, anything turned out to become. And I really did try to pay attention to this one. Leprechaun mutinies, goblin prison yard fights, hostile hostage situations, anything involving Gagrid's face. This should have been interesting and entertaining, am I wrong? A sci-fi, fantasy, literal fairy tale. And in my opinion, Disney's worst live-action adaptation to date. And that's saying something.
It's absolutely Alice.
Well, prove me wrong. I'm still in shock of the thought of a home release. This was meant to come out in theaters. People were expected to pay to see this. But alas, I prescribe a 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 because of the nostalgia attempt, the visually stunning and at times jarring effects. But then also a 5 out of 10 because with all that's going on, all the fantastical creatures strutting in their tiny boots, I was still bored throughout. Yeah. Was the movie true to the book? You tell me in the comments. I really can't remember. Like and subscribe if you know what's good for you. And stay tuned for oh so much more flow. Oh, don't you know? Right here on the Dr. T Show.